Well, welcome to the Top Gun Show, where I try to bring you new providers, new technologies, and introduce you to the best professionals in the industry, all so you can make informed decisions. Today, I'd like to welcome back Stephen Karahcinsky, the CEO of ZIRO, the sponsor of the Top Gun Show. ZIRO is a very unique company that makes unified communications hassle-free. Stephen started ZIRO about 14 years ago after spending 5 years at Cisco in the channel. I met Stephen through some business associates and friends of mine, Janet Shines, Ashley Rowland introduced us together, and Jay McBain. So he's already working with like the best of the best. And now he's on the Top Gun Show and he has a mug. It's just all uphill from here, buddy. It's all uphill. Welcome back to the Top Gun Show.
Thanks so much. It's great to be here and appreciate you meeting those three very special people. They mean a great deal to me, and I owe a lot of the cool things that are going on with us to them. So thanks for mentioning them.
Well, yeah, they're also muggers, so you know.
They are. I've seen it.
All right. Well, hey, my friend. Last week you talked about why you started ZIRO, and you described some of the common problems faced by your customers. Talk a little more about the ideal customer profile. And who are the decision makers that you're trying to reach?
Yeah, for sure. So again, when we're thinking about customers, we really play in that mid-market, large enterprise space. So think from a size-wise, 500 to 6,000 seats. We can go down to a floor of around 300 users. We could scale up, but sometimes it gets a little political out there. So we like to display where we really can have a great effect with the customers. From a decision-making perspective, I think the folks, it's really around the VP side and the directors that are making these calls. When we have a chance to speak with finance, those conversations actually go really well because we actually do save customers money on these projects. In fact, there's one customer that we're working with today that the numbers from a savings perspective that they're reaping from moving off of a myriad of different systems and consolidating onto one, it's huge savings, like millions of dollars. And so when we get to do that and have those conversations, these projects end up happening with themselves, especially when they tie into the core strategy and platforms that all these IT buyers are trying to align themselves into to create those great employee experiences.
Yeah, it's not often that the finance guy is your friend, but I know with your value proposition and when you run the math for them, that's a huge endorsement that you got the finance guys on your side.
It's not only about the money, Steve. I don't mean businesses, and I mean there's a lot of other value. But when we have savings like that, I mean it's a wow effect.
Yeah, for sure. So how are you going to market to find those customers? Do you have a direct sales force? Are you tapping into the indirect sales channel? How are you finding all your customers?
So we were going direct for like the first 13 and a half years of our business. That's all we did. And our challenge as an organization has always been to build out this killer, unbelievable sales force. And it was really after the conversations with Janet and Jay who opened my eyes to what the power of the channel and the ecosystem could really be about. And so while we do have a direct team today, it's pretty small in nature. We see the growth of the business really happening via channel. And so we've spent the last 6 months really getting to know folks, learning, understanding how the channel works. And in a short period of time, we've had a lot of success. So whether it's the advisor community with VARs and MSP, and also looking at some extendable ecosystems, from different zones, not just from the UCaaS and CCaaS players, whose partners have a lot of value of growing their businesses, keeping their competitive advantage by adding UCaaS and CCaaS to their portfolio. So there's a bunch of channel segments, but we are all in and super bullish on partner and ecosystem.
I love it. You're doing it right. I've always said that, like, Jay McBain is like Wayne Gretzky. He says, skate to where the puck's going to be. So he'll tell you where the puck is going. Janet Shines will tell you exactly how to get there to take advantage and meet the puck at its destination. So you got two of them in your corner. You're doing it right, man. That's wonderful. So last question, or second to last question. Who's your most common competition and why are you winning against them?
So I look at it in a couple of different ways. So one, I would say the typical telcos, we come up against them regularly, and those are an interesting competitor to be against because there's a thought or a myth that the telcos have changed their business over the last 15, 20, 30 years. They haven't. They're telcos. They sell connectivity and they do a great job of selling connectivity, but that's all they do. So when we go up against the telco, they provide one slice of the pie for the solution, which is the PSTN, but everything around that they don't really do. So when we actually have a chance to have a conversation, it becomes really clear that we're not really competing with them. They could fit into the solution, or we could actually do everything that they do. Because PSTN today's commodity, you can get that from anywhere. I could buy it from Amazon today. The other types of competitors are real pure play telephony players. So folks like, Call Tower, maybe Fusion Connect, NTT. And I think where we are having success against those organizations, respectfully, is kind of like when we spoke about when we're focusing on the entire customer journey. Those organizations will do a good job of getting you from point A to point B and doing the migration and implementation. But everything across that journey, they're not focused on, whether it's on that pre-sales consideration phase, whether it's on the post-sales day 2 of really being a true partner and super engaged with your customer and finding ways to automate and create great experiences across the board, really making this stuff easy. That is where we shine. And we haven't seen anybody, I'm going to come back to kind of that point that where we transcend. I haven't seen anybody that's got the skills of telco, VAR, MSP, SaaS and PaaS provider, and combine it all to create great experience for our customers. That's where we shine.
Love it, love it. Great answer. Well, hey, Stephen, I found out you are a hip hop dancer last week. This week, I'm going to ask you something different. What was your first job?
So first job, probably like many people, was like, paper route, putting circulars or flyers in people's doors and that sort of thing. Really kind of started working when I was quite young. I guess the first more official job, if you will, if you don't count that as super official, more like, high school kind of stuff or like low-level elementary or middle school kind of stuff. I worked in a pharmacy for many years, so what would be equivalent of a Walgreens or a CVS as a stock boy. Paid my dues there, and so that's kind of some of the couple of early things I did in the early days, which at the end of the day was great experience. Learned a lot of discipline, hard work, put some money in my pocket, and so feel grateful to have those experiences young.
That's great. Thanks for sharing that. I had a paper route at 5 a.m. as well. I think everybody that had a paper route back in those days have turned out okay.
I think you're right. I think you're right. I knew we had a connection somewhere, Steve. I knew it was
yeah. The smell of those papers at 4:30 in the morning when they're dropped off at the doorstep, man, it's crazy. All right, man, I'm going to let you go. I know you're busy. Thanks for carving out time out of your schedule to be on the Top Gun Show. Appreciate it.
Cheers. Thank you.
Thanks for watching, everybody.